We dropped two atomic bombs on this country. Today, they are one of our closest allies on the planet. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly why, and it's not because of the American occupation after or the money we send them. It starts with a concept most people have never heard of, and it'll teach you what you can do when you are stuck in the past. If you're new here, hit subscribe. We take a story from history every week and figure out what it actually means for your life. Let's dig into it. My wife and I were covering the atomic bombs on a previous episode.
That's not okay. Like
And
I
that I
seen
didn't say
videos of what this bomb did, what the bombs did, and it's just like I cannot. You know what's my thing? I don't get through my head how come Japanese people don't hate the U.S.
I didn't have an answer, so we looked into it. Why an entire country just seemed to move forward instead of staying resentful? In 1945, the American military is weighing its options. A ground invasion of Japan, with estimates running past 1 million on the American side, and Japanese death in the millions on top of that. But America has just built the deadliest weapon anyone has ever made and wants to avoid those numbers. They are ready to use it. July 26, 1945. The United States, Britain, and China demand Japan's unconditional surrender, warning of prompt and utter destruction if they refuse. Japan leadership says no. 8:15 in the morning, August 6, 1945. They find out what utter destruction means. An American bomber called the Enola Gay drops a single bomb over Hiroshima. One bomb leveled most of the city in seconds. Over 70,000 people died in the same day. Even then, Japan doesn't surrender. 3 days later, an even more powerful bomb hits Nagasaki. Another 74,000 dead. By the end of the year, the death toll from both bombs combined passes 200,000 people. After all that, Japan surrenders. Within one generation, the country on the receiving end of this destruction becomes one of America's closest allies on Earth. American troops are still stationed there today, with hundreds of billions of dollars in trade every year. Most people assume that it comes down to American money and the rebuilding efforts after the war. That's part of it, but it's not where it starts. How does that happen? How does a country absorb the deadliest weapon ever built, use on them twice, and end up standing shoulder to shoulder with the country that dropped it? The answer starts in Japan, before the bombs ever fell, with a discipline this country had already been practicing for centuries. Somewhere in a Japanese temple, a monk is sitting completely still, hours at a time, not relaxing, training, teaching himself how to feel real pain and not react to it. That practice has a name, Gaman. The goal isn't comfort, it's composure. Starting around the 1100s, the samurais pick up the same practice. For warriors, staying calm under pressure could mean the difference between living and dying. Centuries later, that same discipline gets written down as Bushido, the samurai code. Composure under pressure isn't a virtue anymore, it's a requirement. Over time, Gaman isn't just for monks and warriors anymore. Merchants use this cultural mindset to push through a bad year of business. Farmers use it to get through a failed harvest. Regular people start using it too. And when they're living through something hard, here's the phrase they actually say out loud: Shikata ganai. It means it cannot be helped. It's not about giving up. It's a judgment call about what's still in your control and what genuinely isn't. That phrase is about to get tested by something a lot worse than a bad harvest. 22 years before the bomb, that discipline gets tested directly. The 1923 Tokyo earthquake and the firestorm that follows kills over 100,000 people and level most of the city. Tokyo rebuilt anyway. Within a decade, its population has already passed what it was before. So by 1945, this isn't new to Japan. A journalist named John Hershey spent months interviewing Hiroshima survivors after the war. One of them is a woman named Hatsuyo Nakamura. She's a widow, raising 3 kids alone. Her husband was killed in the war in Singapore a few years before. On the morning of the bomb, the blast throws her into the next room. She finds her younger daughter buried under the wreckage and digs her out. Then she hears her other 2 kids somewhere under more debris, crying out for help. She pulls them out too. Before she leaves the house, she stops for one more thing: her sewing machine, the asset she has left. That sewing machine becomes how she makes money, taking sewing jobs from anyone who'll pay her. Eventually, she gets a steadier work, 13 years at a chemical plant, and raise all 3 kids to adulthood. She's just one person, but while she's rebuilding her own life, the country around her is making the same choice on a much bigger scale. 6 days after Nagasaki, the emperor tells the country on the radio to endure the unendurable. After that broadcast, Japan doesn't fight back. So, what does any of this actually have to do with you? Here's the question worth asking yourself. When something happens that you can undo, where does your energy actually go? Do you spend it trying to change what's already over or what's still in front of you? Go back to Mrs. Nakamura. She's not a monk or a soldier. She's a widow standing in the front of the wreckage of her own house. And when someone finally asks her about the bomb that just took everything from her, here is what she actually says. It was a war. We had to expect it. Shikata kanai. It cannot be helped. The bomb already happened. Nothing she does today changes that. So she doesn't waste herself fighting something that's already over. She puts everything into the 3 kids standing in front of her. But how can you take this incredible mindset and make it yours? You've probably got something like that too. A breakup, a loss of someone you love, something you're struggling with. Here's something practical you can actually do with this. The next time your life pins you down like that, grab a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. On one side, write out of my control, on the other, still in my power. Say it's a breakup. What's out of your control? The relationship is over. You can undo that, however you feel about it. What's still in your power? Keeping your mind busy instead of stuck. Go to the gym, show up at church, call a friend. Finally, start that book you wanted to read. Spending time with other friends and family. This isn't about pretending the pain isn't there. You still feel every bit of it while you write that list. It's just that once it's actually written down in your own handwriting in front of you, you know exactly where you put that energy. That's the actual answer why most of the country did roughly the same thing. They already been through this before, generation after generation, like the fire that leveled Tokyo in 1923. And by the time the bombs hit, they already knew the difference between what's already over and what's still in their control. So you can't change what happened. Put everything into what you can. Shikata ganai. If you want to see what that same choice looks like when someone has to make it twice, go check out our episode on Tsutomu Yamaguchi. He survived Hiroshima. 3 days later, he was in Nagasaki for the second bomb. That's it for now. Bye-bye.